I started pretending I was a plow. So I was crawling around my office going.
Hey guys, it's Gordon, and today I wanted to take a look at Viola Davis's interview on Hot Ones.
So in your memoir, Finding Me, you tell a story about auditioning at Juilliard in jeans and a sweater, while other hopefuls practiced yoga poses and did ballet and Fitzmaurice work while they waited. Thinking back on those days, what's an acting exercise or warm-up technique that you found to be actually helpful?
I think, I'm not going to look this up, okay? And again, I do not pretend to be an expert in acting. But I think Fitzmaurice is a technique designed, it's like a warm-up technique. I think the goal is to become more in tune with your body and release from yourself. And I think people typically use it to transform. So you do the technique, you get relaxed, super relaxed, you release from yourself, and then you start trying to inhabit characteristics of the character you're going to be playing.
An acting exercise that's really helpful is a breathing exercise where you take a deep breath from your diaphragm and you sing a song like Happy Birthday, but you take it syllable by syllable. And you just let it all go. Take another breath. And by the end, you're either laughing, crying, both. You're hyperventilating. But the reason why it's helpful is because it accesses your emotions.
It's funny, warm-ups I think are so important, but in Cleveland, everyone did warm-ups. And when I moved to Atlanta, I noticed that no one did warm-ups. They didn't even really know how to do warm-ups. I was working with an acting teacher, and he ended up letting me do the warm-ups. He let me do the introduction to his classes, and that's actually how we became really good friends. And now he's teaching at Kennesaw State, and he uses the techniques that I taught him. And it's funny, people get really uncomfortable when you start doing warm-up techniques for acting, because they're just like, this is so weird. And it's because they're focusing on, what's the purpose of this? They're forgetting that there might be a gem at the end of the journey. So just when you're learning warm-ups, I would just say, just do whatever, and you might find the hidden thing at the end. If I would tell people what the end goal is of a warm-up exercise, they tend to want to skip to the end, and they don't actually do the exercise correctly. They skip all of the good stuff. I learned most of this when I was teaching and working in improv. But at the end of the day, you can't do an hour worth of warm-up for everything. I like to do simple vocal exercises, stretching, and then a little bit of meditation. I can typically get that done 5 to 10 minutes. If I'm going to do a longer meditation, maybe 15. But the one she's talking about makes her laugh, and laughing relaxes her. So I think that whatever works for you, though.
So I like that exercise. A lot of the rest put me right to sleep. Like when you have to lay on the floor and imagine yourself as an animal and all of that. Remember the first time I did that in class, this is at Juilliard, and I think they said, imagine that you're a cloud. But I fell asleep during the damn exercise. So then I woke up and I thought that they said, imagine you're a plow. So then I woke up and everybody's floating and floating. I'm like, that doesn't look like a plow. So I started pretending I was a plow. So I was crawling around my office going, and I remember the teacher coming up to me and saying, okay. This is interesting. Just keep working on it, though, okay? Just keep working on it. I was like, oh, okay. So the rest of them, I don't know, yeah.
That's so funny. For anyone who went to theater school, I think you'll definitely enjoy this story. I was just saying about warm-ups or anything. They do this in classes, and they could get pretty weird. And I think there's more direct ways to accomplish what they're trying to get at when they do things like this. It's really just supposed to relax you and maybe they'll ask you to inhabit an object or an animal, and this is just working the muscles in your brain. So when you have to become a different character, a different person, when you take on a role in a play or a movie, you have a technique to relax and release from yourself and find ways to become something else. But I mean, it gets pretty silly in class, and this is one of the reasons why I typically will talk a little bit of trash about acting programs in college, because they do it too much, and I really think they could be a little bit more direct and do less of the silly stuff.